Tim, now every time that thing slides over, Tim, I think about what you say, and it makes me laugh. Welcome, everyone, to the Wednesday Night Live show. I'm your host, Mr. John Truncali. Just call me Mr. John Truncali. And Timmy's right there. Look at Lindsay's back. And the Southern Raper Michelle is with us. We see you all out there in chat. Mallory, you're a beast. Was Mallory first again today, or was it Robert today?
She was right out of the gate. Hey, that was right out of the gate.
I think Mallory and Robert have a little competition going, Tim. Like, who's going to be first? Who knows? One of these days, who's our he's on and off. I forget his name now.
There's a lot of them, John.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. I can't remember. We always make fun of him, and he always makes fun of me. So I can't remember his name right now. But
that would be me.
That would be you. You're my what does our header say? You're my show linguistics.
Linguist. I'm the show linguist.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, he corrects me when I pronounce something incorrectly. Welcome to the show. Yeah. Tim. I think Tim missed his calling. I think Tim should have followed his mom's footsteps and became a school teacher. I think he would have been a cool school teacher, Tim. I want to bring back.
I want to bring back the ruler punishment, though.
Yeah. You know. Oh, I don't know about that now. The long-haired hippie teacher with a ruler. I don't know, man.
Thank God I graduated past the paddle years.
So yours are 2 inches longer now.
Yeah, I don't know if the Catholic school would have allowed you with the long hair, but you would have been a crazy Catholic school teacher. That's all I'm saying.
Who's down with the GOD?
Yeah. Well, Tim can remember back in we had some pretty weird teachers in high school in the 80s. We had I won't say his name, but he used to hand out flyers every Friday for a party at his house, keggers. The teacher having kegger parties at his house. Yeah, that was the 80s, man.
I had a professor in college who used to buy cigarettes off of me.
Oh man.
I was like, I'm not gonna sell them to you. Just give me an A.
I need an A. I could see Lynn. I really didn't have time to study this week, but these Marlboro Reds just don't know.
They were Marlboro Reds, yep.
Of course they were.
Yep.
Yeah, of course.
I had another one, my poli-sci professor, and I lucked out because I went to community college, and I lucked out getting this guy because he was like twice chaired at like UVA. He was teaching at Georgetown as well as teaching, the community college kids like me. And man, he was so angry at the world. You see him at like 8 a.m. in the morning, just smoking a big cigar and everything. And I knew, and like, when you got to class, and it was just like, okay, this is gonna be a fun, lecture this time around.
Yeah, the weird thing for us is the smoking area was at the bike rack in front of the school. So we would be sitting there smoking cigarettes next to your English teacher and your, and next to your PE teacher and your social studies teacher. Yeah, there you go. But I think I hate saying that, but I think it kind of helped me with my grades, hanging out with my math teacher, before school started in the smoking area in front of the bike rack. So yeah, I think it did. Michelle, we're going to start off with you. How is Michelle's week going?
I'm fine. Everything's going good. Yeah.
Good.
It's normal. Not much, but a lot is behind the scenes, lots.
Yeah, no, I know. Well, we've had 80 plus degree weather for the last 3 days here. So 81, 85, 86 today. And then we're going back down to the 30s and rain. So yeah, I just don't get our weather this year. Lindsay,
Yeah.
how is Lindsay's weekend going?
That's going. we got nice weather now. Finally, it's hot, and it's just if we bypass spring completely, and boom, it's summer. But yeah, I got some stuff I got to work on. Got a lot of things happening at the state level, unfortunately. So just moving along, trudging. I'll see how it all goes. Yeah, but yeah.
All right, let me do this real quick before I go to Tim, because Tim, let me make sure I get this right. Present. Where is the present button? I don't know where it is. Now I just remembered where it was, and now
for me, it's next. It's
right here. We go. Happy anniversary to Mr. Nick and his lovely wife, Dolores. Happy anniversary.
37 years.
7 years, baby. 37 years. Awesome. I had to do that. Now we'll go to Tim's exciting life. Stop sharing screen. There we go. Tim.
Yeah. What's going on in Tim's world?
How many gummies did you take before the show, Tim? That's all I want to know.
Zero.
Okay.
I'm running on nicotine right now.
I'm running on nicotine. All right. So how is Mr.
I'm throwing my fist up to authority, and I'm running the Nick.
All right.
So it's been good the last week. I guess I should reveal where I went last week.
We had a busy week, man.
Yeah, the wife and I took a little tiny trip down from Beaufort, Georgia, where we so happily reside, down to the wonderful town of Macon, Georgia. I don't know what they're making in Macon, but that's where we went. Macon. Yep. Thank you.
That's what they're doing.
And making bacon in Macon. They're making bacon in Macon. Say that 10 times fast. Anyway, so one of my wife's, I guess we could call it a dream, but one of her wishes in life was to see the wonderful Dr. Noah Drake, better known as Rick Springfield, live in concert. Yeah. Yes. And so he was through here with Richard Marx about a month or so ago on an acoustic set, which was much closer, but that kind of robs the full vibe of a Rick Springfield show. So he was fully amped up in Macon. So we took a little trip and stayed the night down there in Macon, and it was kind of cool. So Macon, the town of Macon, is very much like a lot of college towns you might come in contact with, where they're like older towns that have a lot of like cool little boutiques and pubs and shops and restaurants and things like that are kind of redone and reinvented and reimagined. Secondhand record stores, and very bohemian is probably a good way of putting it. But we stayed at this little hotel, and you guys can look it up online if you'd like. If you ever decide to take an adventure into Macon, which I have no idea why you would ever go to Macon, but there's a little hotel called the Woodward Hotel. You can Google it; it's online, and it seems to me it was a sort of like a renovated office. Like it seems like it used to be like two different office sections, and they turned them into hotel rooms. Nice. Different sizes, different elements, but it's a contactless hotel. There's no staff there.
Oh wow.
So basically once you book it, and you can book on like booking.com or any of those places too.
Yeah.
The day of your arrival, they give you, basically the door codes. So you have like electronic locks and stuff. So you're kind of like on your own unless like something happens. I guess they're on the TV, you could order more towels or whatever. Everything in the room that they leave there is complimentary, so you don't have to play like Indiana Jones and pick up the water and hope that you don't trip the scale, so you get charged $32 for a bottle of water or something. So it was a cute little place, and we were in walking distance to the auditorium. Rick put on a great show.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. If you closed your eyes while you were at the concert, did he sound like he did in the 80s?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Nice.
Really?
Yeah. He actually sounded 1000% authentic and original. And for the ladies, he looks really good for 70, almost 76. He's turning 76 this year. So he looks really good.
I never thought he looked good to begin with.
Hey, Taste is subjective. Rick Springfield is subjective. It's perfectly fine. But clearly it's a chick magnet show. So at any rate, but he's physically fit. He looks really good. He sounds really good. And he went shirtless during Jesse's Girl. So
What part of the set did he wait for the end to play that, or was it
the very last song? Yeah, and then he tries to trick everybody because he came out and like after the third song, he kind of goes on these little rants and stuff, and he was like, "Yeah, and I hate to say it, we're just not going to be performing Jesse's Girl tonight. We're just kind of sick and tired of that song."
Oh God!
So you're like, "Yeah, you're full of shit. Come on, Rick, don't lie." And so then they did like a medley, like kind of like at the maybe 3/4 of the way through the show. And then he did a snippet of Jesse's Girl in the medley. And then you're thinking, oh my God, maybe he's telling the truth. Like no one does. That's not what he looks like now, John.
No, he does not.
No,
he does not.
But so they did a bit of he threw it in the medley, and you're like, oh my God, maybe he's really not going to do it, right? So, but then he comes out. It's his encore, basically. It's the final song of the night. So, props to Rick. I was never a soap opera fan. I didn't really care, but he wrote a lot of good songs over the years, a lot of good movie songs and stuff like that. So Elena got to see Rick Springfield live for the first time, and so that's the part that made my heart happy. Not so much the Rick Springfield part. So
that's the best part. Yeah, seeing those people you haven't got to see.
Yeah,
and she's not from here, so she wouldn't have run into him or at a concert unless he was in Spain, right?
Well, I don't know. I'll have to ask her, but I don't know. I mean, I would imagine if it was an international touring artist and he made trips over there, she would have been able to go see him in Rio. I mean, not in Rio, in Sao Paulo or somewhere where to the big cities. But my guess is not so much. He's probably he's an Australian, so
he's an Aussie. Yes, he is an Aussie. One of my mom's favorite soap opera actors.
Right.
Timmy, you know what time it is?
Yes, sir, I do. Yes, sir, I do. It's time to tell everybody that Mallory Gates is here. No, I'm joking. Because she is here. But anyway, I got a little excited. Let me act. Let
me turn on Feeding the Ducks.
Yes.
There you go.
There you go.
We gotta be a little bit more subdued.
Put in that song, brother.
More jazz radio style. I always feel like I should be being the lips on the movie The Warrior. Hey boppers. You know what I mean? Nobody knows that movie. I talk about it all the time. Nobody knows.
We know. I
Watch
know.
The movie The Warrior.
Michelle knows. I think Lindsay knows the movie.
Hey boppers, the Warriors are trying to get back to Coney Island, and when they get back to Coney Island, they're gonna say, "Hey everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of the Wednesday Night Live Show." Hey, let's see who we got in the wonderful chat. We got 12 online right now. I know that number will climb, so the early risers get the worm tonight. Let's see who we got here. We got the wonderful and beautiful, always Mallory do it your goddamn self, Kate. I had to embellish that one a little bit. And we got Robert Lawyer in the house. Robert Lawyer said, anyone home? Robert, not on a billboard lawyer. That's his new nickname. Robert, not on a billboard lawyer. Good to see you, Robert. How are you? Welcome to the show. Hold on, I'm going through all the chitty chatty back and forth. It's basically Robert and Mallory just going right back and forth. Let's see. Oh wait, we got some new names. We got Jeff Danny Boy in the house. Good to see you, Jeff Danny Boy. You already got a middle name. I don't need to come up with one for you. How you doing, Jeff? Good to see you on the show. Sherman, not Yoder in the house. Sherman Yoder is in the house. What's up? It's good to see you, Sherman. How are you? Who else we got in here? We got Steve Emoji King Tottenham in the house, and I believe we got James R, the resident pirate in the house. Good to see you, James. How are you? And my scroll wheel is at the bottom of the list for now, John. So chime in if you're out there.
Yeah, chime in there. Let me stop the. I think the music did stop. Yes, it did. Look, all by itself, it stopped him. Technology is simply amazing. It's simply amazing. Let me go over here. We got a few articles that we're going to discuss today. How harmful are electronic cigarettes? Airport vaping travelers. Guys, got to get better at it. That's all we're going to say. We'll get into that article. Just get better at it. Denver voters could overturn flavor vape ban in where is that at? Let me. Lindsay, where is that at, Lindsay?
Denver, Colorado.
That's right, Denver, Colorado. I just,
Timmy. State.
Yes, sir.
Russian roulette. Which article are you going to start with there? Remember, we got to hit that thingy. Why do I always say thingy when I want to describe something? I always say
you opened it up open them up for mom jokes. It should be like your thingy. What do you mean your thingy?
You keep your thingy in your pants.
Exactly. You're touching your thingy. What?
Yeah.
Anyway, so we'll go in reverse order. You gave me 1, 2, 3. We're gonna go 3, 2, 1. How about
3, 2, 1? Look at that.
3, 2, 1.
Always breaking the rules. Tim's always breaking the rules, man.
All right. So
love it.
Exactly. So what you're telling me, John, is we don't have to have the technical nightmare of a week ago.
No. It should, if we should work, if we hit that present or invite, it should work.
Okay, but I still got to pick what I want to share, though.
Exactly. And I think one of those articles you had to sign up for. I'm not sure. No, that's my other show. Never mind. There we go. It worked.
Something like that. Can everybody see? I know we can see. Can everybody on the show, Steve?
Yes.
Can everybody on the show see? I don't know who's the dude in the pilot outfit.
That would be I'm not sure. What is the technical the term?
Pilot
now?
Shares reason why
you can't say
airport.
stewardess, right? It's not stewardess. Airport attendant. What is the terminology now for a person that serves?
Flight attendant.
There you go.
Flight attendant.
Okay, bro.
Stewardess.
Okay, bro.
But stewardess.
Somehow, I will always offend someone. I'm still having a hard time with little people, midgets. I know you can't say either one of those words anymore. I don't know which words.
What are we supposed to call them now? Then
I don't know. We're gonna have to get some short people on this show one of these days.
I'll quit using the R word, okay?
Oh yeah. Don't
Sometimes I use it when I'm talking about something, but
I don't care what we call them. Just give me my drink and my peanuts and leave me alone. Yeah. How about that? Yeah. Microwave oven in the house. Microwave left you on 1 second oven in the house. Good to see you, Microwave. How are you? Welcome to the show. All right, so we don't need to talk about the guy in the pilot outfit. Flight passenger slams sneaky travelers who vape in airports. You aren't fooling anyone. So what? We got Karens in the airport now. Is that
Karens
what
everywhere, man?
Karens in the airport?
Have you gone on the Reddit? Have you gone on the Reddit adventure on this? Because I just got caught up on Reddit right now and all this stuff. There's a bunch of Karens, but I remember seeing the video of that one lady who's just out there and lit a cigarette, during COVID time. I think she and she's like in her her seat. I'm like, that's ballsy.
Yeah.
Exactly. So here's the scoop on the article. So airline passengers have been calling out fellow flyers for vaping mid-flight or vaping inside an airport prior to departure. Shame for shame, you vapors. Shame for shame. Hearing the announcement and then hitting your vape again is mind-boggling and shows zero situational awareness, one Reddit user wrote in a post. The person added, "You aren't fooling anyone, and you're a joke that deserves consequences." Now all I can think about is the consequences video that I see on TikTok all the time.
On TikTok.
Yeah. Last year, a flyer shared a video that caught a vaping rule breaker in the act before boarding a plane. Oh my God. The video showed flight passengers with their carry-on luggage lining up to board the plane while passing by the gate agent. One of the passengers is seen using a vape with clouds of smoke surrounding him. Now, I'm clouds and clouds, bro, clouds.
Clouds.
I'm going to call shenanigans on some of this. I do think that there is a contingent who would be belligerent, like the IDGAF crowd. But at the same time, I would have to say, if you're used to vaping all the time, sometimes it's an unconscious thing. You know what I mean? Because you're like, we do it in our house, in our rooms, in places where, where we can do it. And so sometimes you just have it with you and you just unconsciously kind of hit it. I think you have to consider the person's reaction when they get called out. Like, oh my God. Oh,
Yeah,
That's my bad. I didn't
know I was supposed to do that. I didn't know I could do that.
Exactly.
I didn't see the sign.
There's no sign. There's no sign.
There's no sign.
I
love that one.
tobacco.
That one works. And you're right, Tim, because that's one of the reasons I've been leaving my vape in the car when I go into a store, because it's just, I'm just grabbing it and I'm not really paying attention to where I'm at. I just start hitting it. I know that.
Clouds in the Walmart.
Yeah. It's funny because right when I know I'm doing something wrong is when it's too late, when I'm ready to exhale. So it's like a little, I'm trying to suck it back in. It's like,
no, I know the feeling.
I'll tell you, that was probably one of the best things about Juul, actually, was how many places you could do it discreetly, because it didn't actually give out. You have to do a lot of sucking to get like a huge cloud off of that.
You don't, not with the Juuls, but even with these newer ones like the Geek Vape or whatever they're calling them, so the Geek Bar, if you have it wide open, you can it puts a pretty good sized cloud.
Oh yes, it does.
Yeah.
If you like that was a disposable, right?
Yeah.
But I get it, because there is another video floating around on the social media sites of this girl sitting in her seat on a plane. I don't know. I don't really understand why the person across the aisle was even filming in the first place. But you could see she's reading a book or doing or on her phone, like she's completely consumed with, her brain is elsewhere, and she pulls it up and she takes a puff off of it, and the flight attendant caught her and pointed her out, and she's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I it was my fault. I'm sorry." And she puts it away. So it would seem like a natural reaction. It didn't seem like she had manufactured that reaction, but that happens too. The video showed flight passengers with, already read that part. One of the passengers, we read that part too. Never mind. Let me move on. Reddit users shared comments about the moment. Got to hold it in so the smoke don't come out. All right, let's get nuanced. It's not smoke. It's vapor. Commented one Reddit user. Another user joked, "How long was the flight? Dude had to get his last hit of nicotine." That's bold, commented another. "As a crew member, if I saw him doing that before stepping on, I'd have a good chuckle and just confirm that he's aware he should not touch it once on the aircraft." Now there's a reasonable response right there.
Right.
Well, that is the thing. It's how, it's that moment after you get caught and the reaction of both parties, how that one individual is going to handle that situation by letting them know, hey, you can't do that. And I think if you take the approach where you think, okay, like Tim is saying, maybe it was a mistake, just not aware of their surroundings. And if you handle it the way that person is saying that they would handle, I think most people would put it in their pocket and move along. Yep. But it's when it's when you just have to, use your authority at this level of you're the king of the aircraft. It's just it's going to cause confrontation, and then you're going to have someone air marshaled off.
Well, right. So, I mean, I think if you had to take the collective here and dump them into buckets, you'll have the accidental vapor, and then you'll have the knowing vapor who stealth vapes. Those people are going to be a lot more slick at it, to not get seen or noticed, right? Because we've all learned that trick and what we can do. And then you probably got not the exception, not the rule, people who are just like, "Fuck it, man, it's only vapor. I'm gonna do whatever." You know what I mean? And they just do it, and then want to argue with the person across the way when they're like, "Man, what are you doing?"
Oh wait, it's not dude anymore. It's not
what I want. It's America.
Yeah, it's not dude anymore. It's bro, right? Hey, bro.
Yeah,
bro.
You know now that you're not supposed to even use nicotine pouches on some flights.
Yeah, that is right.
Which is, I think that's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole demonization of nicotine is just like so beyond me at this point. I mean, I'm gonna sit here. What are you gonna do? Make me open up my mouth and shit to prove that I don't have something in it?
Well, one of my buddies that uses that stuff when he does get on plane, I think what he made a good suggestion. He thinks that it's like chewing tobacco where you have to spit, and I don't think they realize you don't need to spit with these nicotine. You're actually swallowing it. You're not spitting it out like chew. And I think the airlines are getting confused with the two products, and
I wonder why.
Even and I don't know if I'm going to get some crap for this, but if I want to chew on a flight and spit in my can, that's my business. I'm not hurting anyone, right? I mean, can you do that? I never even checked to see if you can chew.
I've never seen anybody dip openly on a plane. I've never seen that, but I mean, you know, I don't know. I think there comes a limit, you know, when there's a guy sitting next to you with an empty 16-ounce water bottle, and it's now like, you know, halfway full of spit, you know,
and brown,
brown and stinks. It's like, okay, dude, you know, maybe that's a little inconsiderate, but you know, let's never mind the asshole in first class who's on his 5th gin and tonic by the time he gets off the plane.
Right.
Or the guy that, you know, the guy that brings his own lunch and it's egg salad. And it's just this stinky egg salad sandwich that he's trying to eat next to you, and you're just about to vomit.
and he chews with his mouth open. Those guys.
I hate the ones that take their shoes off and want to stick it through in between the seats, you know, and use your handle, you know, your armrest for a footrest.
Bunyan Airlines. Bunyan Airlines.
That's Spirit Airlines. That's why you don't fly Spirit Airlines.
I never have, though.
So then somebody commented, bring back a smoking area past TSA and airports, commented one person. Now, those still exist in international airports. Like there's lots of international airports where that exists, but not in the domestic ones, or in the international hubs, should I say?
In the hubs, because Amsterdam had one when I was there. Italy has them. Spain has them. I think everywhere I've been has had one. And boy, you don't want to go in there. If you're a non-smoker, you don't want to go in there, but you know, you have no choice.
You could just go in there and get a buzz off of nicotine. You
can just keep your vape in your pocket, just walk through there and then walk out.
You're fine, actually, where was I at? Coming back from Abu Dhabi last year. And I guess they confiscated the people's lighters during TSA or whatnot. So I'm sitting in there and they're watching them. Everyone's just kind of passing their cigarette along to, you know, people and like, you know, lighting it and stuff. I was like, it's community. You know?
They should have the community lighter in there. That's, you know, the pens that are attached
to the wall,
attached to you at the bank, so you don't steal the bank pen.
I was going to say that those rooms are like you know, when you wake up in the morning and you just make a brash decision to go ahead and get secondhand smoke cancer, like, you know, in like a 5-minute span. Those places are not enjoyable when you got a ton of smokers in there.
And when you're in there, you could be in there for 3 minutes. When you walk out, you're going to smell like you just smoked 3,000 cigarettes.
That is the truth.
We have Vegas still has places you could smoke at. Miami, I know they have a smoking lounge. I guess I was reading that New York has one too. One of the airports there. I guess they got rid of. They used to have one at the one airport that's on the outside of DC.
Reagan or Dulles.
Dulles. They used to have one. I guess they closed that like last year. I was really pissed because I was like, I have like a 3-hour layover and stuff, and like, I'll just go hang out in the smoking room the whole time, vape and everything. But
well, it's cool in Amsterdam. If it's a cafe, you're allowed to smoke, so you don't have to go into that little room and smoke. So if it says cafe in front of it, you can sit there and have your coffee and a cigarette or a vape there. I remember that. I thought that was weird.
Airport there?
Huh?
In Amsterdam, can you smoke weed?
I don't know. Probably. I didn't try, Lindsay. I was with my son and my.
I don't know about in the airport, but I know that you can at willy-nilly do it out there.
I was curious. I mean, airports have alcohol and everything, you know, and they let you get drunk. I mean, that's one of the ways they can kick you off. You're too wasted.
Hey, it's just weed, man.
I'll circle back on the answer on that one because I have friends in the Netherlands, so I'll ask them if you can get high in the airport.
Welcome to Amsterdam. Here's a joint.
Exactly. Another added, vape pens have made people think that they're above the law. Okay. You know, he's hitting it in the lavatory, said yet another user. And then I would say to that guy, who the hell uses the word lavatory anymore? You weirdo. Someone else chimed in, just be a frequent user of the bathroom vape. Some airports do have designated smoking areas for travelers. At John F. Here we go. Here's the answers to our questions, right? At John F. Kennedy Airport in New York City, the rule states smoking is prohibited in Terminal 4 and aeronautical operations areas and in designated areas immediately outside the terminal. The Harry Reid International Airport in Las Vegas, Nevada, also has designated smoking areas in the airport. Smoking is permitted in Barney's Lounge, the Bud 29 Track Lounge, and some enclosed gaming lounges. That's in the airport. Miami International Airport permits smoking inside Concourse D at the TGI Friday Smoking Lounge.
That's the American concourse, folks.
You know you're well traveled if you know all the smoking areas and all the airports in America.
And the duty free. And the duty-free amounts. And yes, it says here, offers an open-air environment where you can enjoy cannabis products. So there you can, it looks like, in certain areas at the airport. So
other users on Reddit discuss vaping aboard planes. I've vaped in plane toilets before, admitted one person, with a crafty stock photo of a chick vaping in a bathroom on a plane. One person said that guy is gonna vape on the plane. Bet my house on it. Recently, God, what kind of reputation do you think we have, people? Recently, a pilot called out a vaping passenger while in the air in a cabin-wide announcement, according to a Reddit user's post. Went and got on the intercom. At the end of the flight, the pilot goes, "There are 189 of you on this flight. While we make our final descent, please know we are going to be safe and sound, but that could have changed because one person decided to risk the lives of the other 188, the user claimed." What's so dangerous?
I take it back. It says, however, as of 2020, the smoking room has been closed permanently due to involving regulations and shifts in airport policies. So no, Lindsay, no more smoking dope in the airport in Amsterdam.
Okay, yeah. But they did allow that.
Yeah, they did. Up till 2020 really fucked everything up for everyone. So.
Oh God, I remember like it used to be so like I would be able to like go to DC from Chicago. I could leave in the morning and come back at night, and that was like the best way to go to DC, like less than 24 hours. And yeah, no, after COVID, they they really kind of got rid of those late night flights. Who wants to go to DC anyways? Ugh.
No one does really.
Maybe
they they have a good hot dog place there, though, from what I understand. Some presidents have eaten at that hot dog place. Tim knows it.
In the airport?
At Washington, D.C.
Oh, in Washington.
Well, hot dog.
I think I'm familiar with what you're talking about, but the only one I can ever think of that's famous is Nathan's Hot Dogs.
No, it's not Nathan.
Not a Nathan's? Okay, no. Not a Nathan's. I'll circle back on that one. Okay. Gary Leff, a Texas-based travel industry expert and author of the blog View from the Wing, told Fox News Digital there's a stigma against vaping. Other passengers might think vapors are smoking a cigarette, even though they aren't, said Leff. He added, you can't smoke on a plane. You can't vape either. The FAA has interpreted the prohibition on cigarette smoking to include vaping products, even though they're quite different. It's not about banning vapor. The regulation simply extends the ban on cigarettes to include e-cigarettes, which were contemplated when the law against onboard smoking was passed, said Leff. I think that's it. Wow, that ended abruptly.
Yeah, Ben's Chili Bowl in Washington, D.C. Average cost for a hot dog is $10 to $20. $10 to $20 for a hot dog. Ooh, you can tell you're in Washington, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's what you pay at like a stadium anyway. I mean,
yeah, but
that's a stadium. I mean,
exactly.
I mean, you understand when you're going to the stadium that you are paying overpriced, Same thing like if you go out to an amusement park or whatnot and everything. I mean, you can't feed a family of 4 for less than $100 there.
I heard of that place. A lot of people talk about the Rusty Nail Pub. I gotta check that out.
We used to go to the 930 Club all the time when we lived there.
Lindsay, have you been to the Rusty Nail Pub in Washington, D.C.?
I have not. I think it's closed, actually.
2020. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, 2023 is when
might be.
No, that
There's
is Atlanta.
There's one in Oklahoma.
I never did go to the Rusty Nail. We
Yeah.
used to go to all kinds of seedy kind of places downtown because I used to hang out with the punk scene. You know,
Yeah.
like all my friends were in punk bands and stuff. So we would go to these hollowed out, weird kind of abandoned places where you brought your own beer and people.
I picture the guys you hung out with, like Neil Diamond and you know Perry Como.
I get my hotel room in DC. Okay, usually.
All right, hold on there, Michelle. What is your take from this? What is your advice to the vapor getting on the airport?
Yeah, because I travel all the time.
We're all stealth vapors.
Yeah, I mean that's just it. If you want to, and you can get away with it. If you can not have anybody around you affected or realize it, then I say go for it. But that's up to you.
Yeah, it's up to you. You don't want to get yourself in trouble. The best thing to do is just it's tough. I mean, I hear the patches work for some people. Sometimes some people don't. Because they still everyone has a different reason why they smoke. It's not just the nicotine. Some of the people need to see the smoke. Some people need the the hand to mouth thing. Some people just are different. So not being able to vape and having that sort of addiction is tough. But Lindsay, your words of wisdom for the airport person getting on a plane trying to vape.
Don't be stupid. I mean, Jesus, don't do clouds in this one. It's not that difficult to vape in places that you're not supposed to. I'm not endorsing that. I'm going to go on the record saying that I haven't done it myself. My NGB is conscious that, people are with the misinformation about vaping products and in the airport too. You just assume that you're always going to have a Karen, and shit.
Well, you're exactly right. There's always going to be someone on that flight that's misinformed and just been, brainwashed of what this product is.
180 people on a flight. There's going to be at least 40 of them that are misinformed. It's going to do the law of math on that one. So. And with the pilot, like sitting there saying that, you risking people's lives or whatnot. So when I don't turn on airplane mode, that's okay. I'm risking people's lives.
Yeah, that's the one that makes me laugh. It's like, you're putting everyone's life in risk, because I'm vaping I'm going to say mango because that's my go-to flavor, but a mango flavored vape, it just makes me laugh. I go, no one's dying.
Accidents were caused in the 60s when they did have smoking, and that was like, a couple people smoking, like everybody was smoking. I don't remember any planes coming down because somebody was smoking.
Oh yeah, I remember.
We're gonna fire in the cockpit.
Yeah, I remember that. I was 10 years old. The first time I remember flying to Italy with my parents and sitting in that aisle and just they're the ashtrays right there. Everybody's just smoking away. That you couldn't see nothing on that plane. They didn't have very good ventilation, but everybody smoked.
I was talking to a pilot one time, and he explained to me because you go on these planes and you go to the bathroom and you see the ashtray or whatnot, and you're like, wait, how old is this freaking plane? Well, I guess they still have to put an ashtray in on there in case somebody does smoke a cigarette and they need a place where they can put out the cigarette.
Yeah. Hey, Michael. Timmy, what is your words of wisdom for the traveler, the vapor traveler?
Don't be stupid. I think that's the resonating advice. I've always sort of stood on the soapbox that I think that the people who just are belligerent, with some of their behavior, like the I don't give a frick kind of attitude people, that's kind of like what gives us sort of like a bad name, right?
Right.
They're effectively a mirror of what everybody wants to hate about vaping. So if you got a nasty attitude about it and are just doing it to be a dick, you know, then that's my advice. Don't be a dick. Don't be a dick.
Yeah.
But beyond that, you know, I can completely sympathize and empathize with those who try to stealth vape or sneak one in here and there, just to kind of hold them over, you know, if that's what they have on them. So I'm saying, if you're going to do that, you know, I didn't tell you to do it. I'm just saying, you know, be smart. Be smart about it. Be smart about it. No, it's kind of interesting. No, James mentioned that he lived in McLean, Virginia from 74 to. What the heck was that?
Sorry, that's my dog's food bag. Okay. It's irritating me.
I thought you got eaten by a shark or something when you walked away from the camera.
You never know in Florida. It could be an alligator in the house.
I was ready to call 911. I was waiting for the help.
It was too big to put up, so I had to do something with it. It was irritating me.
That's funny. Because I learned, you know, we had Bruce on my other show, and he had just had knee surgery. And he had to get up and walk every now and then, you know, during the show. And he got up and he didn't come back for like a half an hour. And then someone informed me that if someone's on your show, say Tim's on the show and he collapses and we don't do nothing, we are responsible for what happened to Tim. So I'm like,
you're culpable?
Yeah. So I was like, what? He's like, yeah, if someone passes out or dies on your show and you don't try some effort of dialing, you know, calling 911 or somehow trying to make sure they're okay, you're responsible for that person. I'm like, damn. So I keep that in mind.
Sorry for the noise.
I mean, it's we all know what it's like. It's difficult. We all have cravings for nicotine. I think you just, you know, try to find alternative ways, you know. I mean, if it's the patch, if it's the gum, do they still make the toothpicks? I think they still make the toothpicks, don't they?
I think they do.
Yeah, I think we're also going to start seeing a lot more like other nicotine gums.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. That's going to be curious how that's going to play out, whether that's going to be considered a food product, and then like you know, regulations on that, because I don't see Nicorette really liking that, but I also think that Nicorette really hates pouches right now too. So
what is the nicotine limits on the what is the nicotine limit on the gum? I never checked to see what it exactly. You know, compared to our vape, is it in that range, like 0.05 or
what is it, 2 or 4 milligram of nicotine?
Okay.
Low levels.
It's low, yeah. So you got to stick like 8 packs of gum in your mouth. If you're
it's so nasty.
Well, one piece of 2. They're saying 1 piece of 2 milligram gum is about equal to 1 cigarette.
Is 1 cigarette.
4 milligrams is about equal to 2 cigarettes.
Yeah. So, because I remember, from what I read, it's been a while since I've used them, so I'm hoping that they have improved. But one of the things I took from using them in the beginning was the fact that the flavor wasn't there. Like it was there for like 3 chews, and then all of a sudden it was just like you were just chewing on a piece of wax in your mouth. It would, you know, that's we know the success rate of the patch and the gum.
Yeah, Lucy gum, the cleaner form of nicotine. Looks like they're. I wonder where they're based out of.
There's alternatives. You just got to figure it out.
Virginia or something.
Those could be that could be another recommended alternative for those who don't want to get popped on the plane.
Yeah, because Tim, you remember back in the earlier days of the ZampleBox page, how that was a big question we kind of threw out there to see how people would react to it. But asking them, you know, do you smoke in the store? Do you smoke at, you know, when you're running around, you know, in other businesses? And everyone outlook back then was, well, it's just vapor. It's not going to hurt anybody. But, you know, if you tried to come back and say, you know, you need to respect the, you know, the area and the other people that are in that area. So I think the same thing applies here. Just, you know, it's not your private flight. You're not the only person on that flight. So just kind of respect everybody around you, man, and try to find an alternative way to deal with your craving, your nicotine craving. Yeah. Tammy, what's next on the agenda?
We're going to talk about some Denver voters.
Yeah, Lindsay knows all about this one.
Yeah. Hold on.
Denver.
There it is, right there. Right there. Nice big bold font that I can read very well. John can actually read that one.
I could see that from across the room, man.
That I actually could see without my glasses on. So Denver voters could overturn flavored vape ban in November election. Our wonderful friend Jim McDonald.
Mr. Jim.
Yes, last December, the Denver City Council passed an ordinance banning the sale of flavored vapes and nicotine pouches, except for tobacco flavor, along with menthol cigarettes and flavored cigars and smokeless tobacco. The ordinance took effect on March 18th. Now, a group of vape businesses and other retailers in the city are challenging the law. Smoke Free Alliance Colorado has gathered more than 17,000 petition signatures from Denver citizens who support a referendum to overturn the flavor ban. Only 9,500 valid signatures are needed to place the question to whether to keep or reject the ordinance on the city's 2025 ballot. If the city clerk validates the required signatures by April 12th, the question will be included on the November 4 ballot, according to Denverite, unless the city council votes to hold a special election. So but that does a special election that still entitles the public at large to vote on that.
To vote, yeah.
Right.
They're going the same route California did.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Which I think is valid. I think, if you've got to play a fair ball game here, I mean, this is, let the people speak, right? Yep. Don't let, a smaller contingent of a selected few be the mouthpiece for everyone, right? 6 U.S. states have passed flavored vape bans, along with the District of Columbia and many cities, including several in Colorado. At least 8 state legislatures are currently considering bills that would ban vape flavors. Vape shops and tobacco retailers lead the fight against the Denver flavor ban. Smoke Free Alliance Colorado, which gathered the signatures, is led by Phil Guerin, who owns 5 Mixed Up Creations vape shops in Colorado, including one in Denver. Guerin is also president of the state vape trade group, the Rocky Mountain Smoke Free Alliance. This ban is an attack on family-owned and minority-owned businesses already struggling with rising costs and inflation, said Guerin in a statement. A ban will not stop people from buying these products. It will just send them to Lakewood, Glendale, Aurora, and neighboring communities, leaving Denver family-owned businesses and the city's economy to suffer.
True.
Hello, where'd you go? There you go. Tobacco control activists who created the campaign that led to passage of the city's flavor ban told Denverite that Denver voters understand the issue and support the ban, but Guerin disagreed. Basically, the polling says that 40% of Denver voters are not decided on this issue, he told Denverite. People just don't have enough information. And in my experience and in collecting these signatures and talking to the general public, when you tell them what's going on, we have a lot of people that agree with us. That may be true, but if the signatures are validated, the vape shop owner will be facing a brutal 6-month fight against well-funded, well-trained opponents. Today, just 3 days after Guerin filed signatures with the city clerk, the Denver Post published an op-ed by Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids, Regional Director Jody Radke, decrying the ballot initiative to protect what she calls candy tasting tobacco products.
Candy tasting.
Yikes.
Oh, man.
That's awful.
Guerin told KDVR News that the signature gathering process and the fight against the ban has been exhausting, but it is necessary. We are fighting for not just our futures, he said, but the rights of all adults to make a better choice than smoking cigarettes. Amen. Tobacco-free kids, AstroTurf. What? AstroTurf. Why would I want? Okay, flavor ban.
I have no idea.
Oh, sorry. Contextual. I'm reading it wrong. I'm like, I never even heard of that flavor, AstroTurf.
It's new. It's right there. It's right up there with mango, right at the top of the list.
It's an action. It's an action word here, not an actual descriptor. Tobacco-free kids, AstroTurf flavor ban campaigns, the opposite of grassroots. A lot lot of turf and grass references here. The Denver ban was engineered by the Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids, following the Tobacco Control Group's well-worn template. An AstroTurf group created the TFK's lobbying arm, in this case, the Flavors Hook Kids Denver Coalition. They're so creative in their names.
The FHKDC.
Yep, I just get on a little dinghy and just push off into the ocean and drop a hook with flavor on it and just see if I can catch a kid. Flavors Hook Kids Denver Coalition seeks out local partners, usually from the healthcare, education, and religious sectors. Op-eds are placed in local newspapers, written by the tobacco control professionals, but often attributed to local leaders. Of course, they target the groups of people that want, that have strong opinions and feel like they need to be there to save us, right?
Yes.
I lost my place.
Tobacco's new playbook.
He lost his place.
A new generation of kids.
Yep.
Heard it all before.
Exactly. One-sided news stories promoting the proposed bill are generated. Politicians who introduce and fight for the bill are lionized as plucky Davids fighting the tobacco industry Goliath, and public events are scheduled, often featuring leaders from the partner groups, along with high school students trained by TFK. Yeah, gotta have you gotta have your minions. Your little robots.
Technically, they can't pay them, but they can train them. So.
Yeah, but what's the incentive for the kid though? Just because they get recognized by some group.
Well, I would probably think that some of those kids have desires or future being some sort of politician or city councilman. They're usually those kids. Well, aspirations of being in the political field someday.
Got it. We call the TFK created campaigns AstroTurf because they are opposite of grassroots. It was not Denver citizens responding naturally to a problem they recognized that pushed lawmakers to ban flavored vapes, but well-paid professional activists swooping in and executing a prefabricated flavor ban campaign. In Denver, the ordinance was presented as a battle between heartless big tobacco and helpless children. Oh, the helpless children.
Those children.
And minority groups targeted for addiction.
Parents of these kids. I mean, Jesus. I mean,
it's like they're just unsuspecting children that just get completely overwhelmed, like they're magnets for vapes. I
just go with the Bill Hicks argument, and the fact that this still is applicable, 30 years later. Is like, kids. It's all about the kids. Kids are the smartest people I know. I don't know a single kid with a full-time job and kids.
Exactly.
And they always have money.
They always have, apparently, I mean, they have no rent. They don't pay taxes. All right.
And they're
right. You would like, we're just doing mostly for all the kids and everything. So
yeah. And most of them, think about this. What kind of shocked me it was last year when we were talking about allowances. And comparing my allowance of when I was a kid compared to some of these kids' allowances now. And I was talking to, he's 16 or 17, he's a friend of my grandson. And he goes, "Oh, no, I don't carry cash." He goes, "I got a little card." And he's got like a couple $100 on this card that, his parents keep track of. You know what I'm talking about, Lindsay? And then he just, I don't forget what it's called, but he just uses this like a credit card. So, he goes to the store and they can keep track of what he's buying.
Yes, they're actually probably smarter because they know what he's buying. I mean, like my parents, I mean, that actually makes it a little bit more difficult to buy cigarettes or have your buddy buy, products.
Yeah, but I'm comparing my $5 a week allowance to this kid carrying around a card with a couple $100 on it. I'm like,
do you ever read what they talk about, like the tooth fairy and inflation or whatnot? Like what the tooth fairies, kicking out now. Exactly. Thank God I don't have children. They are very expensive. Oh my, they used to be even more expensive.
How excited were you to see a quarter under your pillow? A quarter.
Hey,
a quarter, man.
A whole quarter.
Like, hell yeah.
They used to make me wash the
like
dishes.
$2
Yeah.
No, if it's not at least a 5 or a 10, they're like disappointed. The tooth fairy's the cheap bastard, man.
My parents owned a restaurant when I was in middle school, so I didn't have an allowance. I made tips and worked for money and everything.
Can you imagine the tooth fairy having to equal the value of pulling a tooth at the dentist? That would be expensive, you know?
Yeah, oh yes, it would be.
We're gonna have to pull that molar. That's $1,200. So
yeah, there you go. Here you go.
Go ahead, Timmy.
That's crazy. The city school board passed a proclamation. What is this, 1776, calling on the city council to ban flavored vapes. Hear ye, hear ye. There's a proclamation to ban flavored vapes after the council eventually
7 years ago.
After the council eventually delivered the goods. That sounds nefarious. Delivered
nefarious.
The goods. Yeah, TFK issued a national press release praising them. It's the same pattern seen in virtually every city or state in which a flavor ban backed by TFK is proposed. In Columbus, Ohio, where the city council unanimously passed a flavor ban in 2022, it was a TFK-created AstroTurf group called the Coalition to End Tobacco Targeting. That played the same role as the Denver Flavors Coalition. In Michigan, where TFK has been unsuccessful so far, a group called, oh my God, people, the Keep Michigan Kids Tobacco Free Alliance runs the show. What are these think tanks? Like, are they like just drunken bingo sessions and they're just kind of throwing whatever word at the wall?
It's a nonprofit that you funnel money in from, from Bloomberg or whatnot and everything. Funds the lobbyists or whatever and stuff at the state level and all that.
They're two bad moms.
And you got to throw the word kid in your group. Yeah, the kid has to be in a group, and tobacco has to be in a group. Safe, the word safe has to be in there somewhere.
Yeah. They kind of borrowed off of the mothership name anyway. All are creations of the Tobacco Free Kids Action Fund. There you go. TFK's lobbying and political action group. Most of the flavor ban initiatives were created by TFK using funding from billionaire Michael Bloomberg.
Whoa, go figure.
Imagine that.
Imagine that, yes.
How did that happen, Lindsay? I used to have a picture of Michael Bloomberg to put up anytime his name came up, but I lost it. But here, I'll use this one instead. I'll use this one instead. Here you go, Michael.
Yeah,
Michael,
that one.
Michael Bloomberg funding is like a mistaken vape on a plane. Oops, sorry. Here's another million.
Here. Million, one, like a couple hundred.
Sorry. Bloomberg gave TFK $160 million grant in September 2019, specifically designated to fund state and local vape flavor bans. No state had banned vape flavors before Bloomberg and TFK targeted them, but Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York, and Rhode Island passed flavor bans within months of the huge grant, and vape advocates in several other states fought difficult battles to avoid similar fates during that same period. Thank you, Jim, for the wonderful piece.
What are their shot, Lindsay? What do you think? What do you think is going to happen in Denver? Your opinion?
I have no idea. They're always the initiatives are always hit or miss. So I mean, what is Colorado? Let's see. I think they did participate in the Youth Risk Behavior Survey for 2020.
Well, it looks like he's staying on top of it, and he's fighting to keep his businesses open, which is great. Hopefully, he has a good following back there. I mean, he got 17,000 signatures, so I don't know what the population of Denver is, but I'm sure it's in the millions, isn't it?
Population of Denver, yeah, it's got to be. Yeah.
It's just the same situation California went through, and I hopefully that Denver can. And it's to me now isn't Denver one of the first cities or states, I should say, Colorado, one of the first states to allow cannabis, right? Weren't they?
Yeah,
they were the first, right, Lindsay?
Denver, Washington, one of them was recreational cannabis. It's California for medical did the medical first, and then but it was Colorado.
Because I remember,
Colorado's got a bad drug epidemic actually.
Yeah.
Speaking of Rudy Radke, They had this one mom, she lost her son to like a 15 and 14-year-old son to fentanyl or whatnot. And Jody Radke actually friggin' pimped this mom out at a flavor ban hearing in Arizona. And then this mom is based in Colorado and everything. And I was just like, that is freaking disgusting. And also the policies that you are putting in play are only going to make it more likely that people could be exposed to fentanyl, through unregulated products. But I'm disgusted by it. But like Colorado's had a really major problem. They've done a lot of documentaries on it. There was like one overdose incident. It was cocaine, right? And like it was like 5 adults passed away. A 6th person like was unresponsive or whatnot, and then there was a baby. And and it wasn't like they weren't drug addicts or anything. It was just like Friday night party or whatnot, but it was laced with fentanyl. Yeah. Imagine a police officer having to respond to that too, man.
Yeah, because I remember early in the beginning when Colorado legalized everything over there, and I remember like a year and a half or 2 years after, I remember reading an article about the state of Colorado with such a large surplus of money due to this, the cannabis being legalized there, and they had no clue where to spend it. And they were asking the citizens of Colorado to actually help them decide how to spend the surplus.
Because you had the issue with the banking there. I still think that there is still issues with banking because it's drug money.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're still waiting for, I remember something about a farmer's bill, which was going to change that regulation to where these shops could actually start putting that money in the bank and actually drawing interest on some of that money and using that money within the community instead of just putting it in safes and just having it sit there and save. So it's a sad story. But Colorado, and I also remember Colorado being that state. What they had a thing about edibles in the very beginning, where they had to change the policy on how edibles were being made because they were making them in the back rooms of some of these smoke shops, and they weren't being able to actually know how many milligrams of THC were actually in each cookie. Remember the kid that jumped off the balcony because he thought he was Superman, and he ate one of those cookies that was supposed to have, I don't know, 5 or 10 milligrams of THC or whatever. I don't know what but it was like
Brownie's Ambassadors, yeah,
and it was like triple or quadruple worse.
We also had some like mental health issues as well too.
Yeah.
And back to Will Hicks, man. If you thought you'd like today, a young man on acid thought he was a kid could fly.
Well,
thought he could fly, fell off a building. What a tragedy! What an idiot! If you thought you could fly, why didn't you take off from the ground first?
Hey, look, man, I can't say nothing because my son at 6 decided to jump off the 2nd-story balcony in our house. Because he had a Superman cape on, and thank God he landed on top of the very old grandfather clock and rode that baby down, and only ended up with like 2 or 3 stitches. But and of course, when we took him to the hospital, he still had a Superman cape on, and the doctor goes, "Let me guess," and I was like, "Yeah. Superman." Hey, Jeffrey. Hopefully they have a good support group there in Denver, and they back this guy up because it sounds like, what did he have, like 5 shops?
Yes, that's what he said. He had multiple shops. Yeah. At least a handful. I don't know. I think if this guy has a chance to spread out and campaign a little bit, if they do get the referendum vote, that would be a great opportunity to kind of like spread information around and just try to educate people as best you can. Going into the vote.
And if anyone out there knows this guy, what's his name again? Phil. I remember Phil.
Guerin. Guerin.
We would love to have him on the show. So if anyone's out there that knows Phil, I'll actually try to find him and see if I can get him on the show, and we can have him talk a little bit about what's going on and how he's dealing with it. I think it'll be good to have him on
that show too, Cass. We talk shit about.
I will make sure. I'll make sure you're. Yeah, I'm gonna copy and paste his name right now, and he is part of the.
That was the big one from what I remember in 2020. It was when we were really, fighting it really hard.
Well, he's the president. Oh, so he's the president of the Rocky Mountain Smoke. I can find him. I can find him.
President for Rocky Mountain Smoke Free, but that used to be Amanda Wheeler's place. So I'll probably reach out to her. She'll know people with contacts in there. So
I'd love to have. I would love to have him on the show. We'll work it out and we'll see if we can get him on the show next week or when he has some time.
Yeah, I think he was the kind of the head of a couple different groups there.
Yeah. I see. Yeah, I see where it says he's the president of the state vape trade group, Rocky Mountain Smoke Free Alliance.
Yeah.
So I'll give him an email or a shout out. I'm sure he's on Twitter. So, or I'm sorry, X.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to talk to him.
Yeah.
10-4, I agree. Yeah, I hope that they at least get the referendum and that it gives a fighting chance. You know, it's just all these shutdowns are unfortunate.
Oh yeah. Well, speaking of that, update on Tennessee. So for our viewers who probably don't know, Tennessee's actually done pretty well for not having a vape directory bill go through Tennessee Smoke Free Alliance or Association. Danny Gillis and Chris Lotz are the ones who run that out there. But today is pretty disappointing. The Senate did pass it, no amendments. The subcommittee, so we're waiting to see what it goes. If it needs to go to the full committee and pass out of there before it'll go to the floor. They're hoping for an amendment on it for age-restricted stores. I mean, there's been a lot of money that's been shoved on it. They're just going to get sued after it goes through anyway. So it's going to be a question about, I think Tennessee's judicial branch might be a little bit more favorable to, the small businesses than, certain other states that might be more big corporations and everything. So it's fingers crossed on that one. And if you're in Tennessee or, start, reaching out to people and, talk about how flavors are important to you and, how this is pretty much big tobacco coming in and bamboozling over and, knocking out competition. And they're willing to work with the tobacco companies.
Yeah.
They just Tennessee's got like many states too. The disposable vapor products that are sold, very, very lax at convenience stores all around and everything. They're killing the vape shops. They can undercut them. They also don't care. They're the ones that are getting charged with selling to minors. I hate this going on the record, going for restrictions, but at the same time, I understand. This just can't keep going and being wild, wild west. When I thought of when disposables were coming out, I was like, oh shit, the youth. That's what I was like. Really, I never thought about big tobacco coming out after. I never thought about market share and and just how much these are disrupting the industry, which is awesome to see. But at the same time, if we don't do something, it's gonna just end up being really, it's going to be constant fights that we've been doing the whole freaking time. Some people get off on that stuff. I'm really done doing this and this.
Yeah.
Talking about the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. That's called insanity.
Yeah. We talked about it last week. It's for our industry and just having to deal from lawsuit after, it's just everywhere. It's almost you would almost have to have like a few lawyers in every state and every city, every county, because it just seems like every day there's a new bill going through to ban vaping. And it's just, even if we just had one organization that was dealing for all of us as a community, they wouldn't be able to handle the what's going on right now in the last 6-7 months. It's just it seems like every county, every city, every state is throwing some sort of bill out there to ban vaping or ban flavors altogether. So I couldn't imagine having to try to deal with just trying to figure out what's going on and that's up to you guys. That's why I like CASA. That's why we deal with CASA, is because you can go there and see every single bill, what's going on in your city or your state or your county. And those are all due to you guys. You guys they don't keep, they can't keep on top of all of them there. So they depend on you guys to let them know what's going on in your state, your city, and your county, man. So stay on top of it.
Yeah, I'm kind of following the news around the one HB 577 in Georgia. So that one, yeah, it's still a bit on a bit of a slow roll. There was an article that came out on the 3rd of March, and there was opposition. So they did get some commentary from localized people, and they just said, I'll just read like the last little bit. It just said, however, During the meeting, several lawmakers expressed support for the bill, highlighting its potential as a consumer protection measure. And there's some more blah, blah. But it said, however, the discussion also revealed significant opposition from local vape shop owners and industry representatives. Critics of the bill raised concerns that it could inadvertently harm small businesses by limiting the availability of open system devices. And some of the same kind of stuff that we hear. It just said, as the meeting concluded, it was clear that while there is a consensus on the need to address youth vaping, the approach taken by House Bill 577 remains contentious. The legislature needs to balance public health concerns with the interests of local businesses as they move forward with discussions on this critical issue. The next steps will likely involve further testimony and potential amendments to the bill to address the concerns raised by stakeholders. So I guess it's kind of in flux, but I'm going to put that on my bill tracker there. I forgot to do that last time. So still a bit quiet on the Georgia front.
Georgia. I'm
do I have to sign up for this Economist thing?
You don't have to sign up for anything you don't want to sign up.
Well, no, I mean, can I just get on there for free to read the article?
Which one? The last one?
The one,
the first one.
Yeah, the
number one.
The first one you sent.
It should go through.
It's just continue with a free trial is what they're saying.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, with a free trial. Yeah.
Hold on.
I can send you. I actually copied and pasted that article. I don't know if that would help you.
Well, if you want to go that route, I can read it that way.
Okay, hold on. I will.
My aptitude is there, John.
I know.
I can read it on a website and I can read it in a Word document, however you want.
Well, I know you. I know how you work. All right, hold on. Share with Timmy. How do I share this article with Tim?
You could, if you got it in like a PDF or a Word.
I got it in Google Docs. And I will share.
Send me the link.
Today, Junior.
Restricted only. Should I give them full access? Only person with access.
Anyone with the link. Anyone with the link.
Copy the link, and I will put it in the private chat, Tim.
Okay.
And I will paste it there, and then I will click this, and then yes, there you go, Timmy. It should give you access to it.
It says access denied. I'm going to request access, John.
Okay, request it. And where would I see that?
Probably in an email.
Yes, I will give you access. I will make you an editor. Share.
I'm just going to add a lot of cuss words. Make it
go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
All right. Can I get in now? I could get in. All right. Let me share the copy paste, the wondrous copy paste skills of John Truncali.
Hey, I just copied and pasted, and then Google decided that some words were wrong, and I didn't change them.
Which one is it? This one?
I don't know. This is we're so much better than ABC News.
It's this one.
And back over
there
to
you go. This looks like something he did. He's got a book report he had to turn in the next morning.
AI. Hey, I just copy and pasted it.
All right, I'm just trying to make it.
I figured you were going to have some trouble actually accessing the article, so
it hit me with the free trial thing right out of the gate.
Yeah.
How harmful are electronic cigarettes? Restrictions on vaping are multiplying. Belgium banned sales of disposable vapes on January 1st. France adopted a similar law on February 24th. Other bans on puffs, what are those? As these single-use electronic cigarettes are also known, may soon come into force in England, Scotland, Wales, and New Zealand. I've never heard of a puff. I've never heard of this.
I think that's what they do. That's what they call it.
Okay. So that's just their quippy term.
Right.
Got it. The Latter's Law, which takes effect on June 17th, 10 days before my birthday, everybody put that on the calendar, even prohibits special, if you can't add 10 to 17, we got problems. So 27. The Latter's Law, which takes effect on June 17th, even prohibits specialist retailers from speaking with existing customers about vaping products, much like how hamstringed here. More than 30 countries, including Brazil, India, and Turkey, have outlawed all vaping products. But I can tell you, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that while they're outlawed in Brazil, my wife tells me that they are readily available pretty much anywhere you look in any store. Like no one's really cracking the whip.
Good.
Are such measures justified? Vaping clearly carries risks. Starting in 2019, America's Centers for Disease Control and Prevention began to track a new inflammatory respiratory disease known as the Valley. E-cigarette or vaping product use associated lung. Didn't they? Now, did they ever?
It's always got to come up
Valley now,
article.
right? Is it just Valley now? As of February 18th, 2020, the CDC had identified 2,807 admissions to hospital for a Valley in America. At least 68 of these patients had died. Well, if you go back and read the reports and looked at the CDC data, you would see that they've corrected a lot of this misnomer. But this one I just think is stuck on us like a really bad skin tag. You know what I mean? Like it's just one of those things you just can't get rid of. And no matter how many times the dermatologist burns it off of you, it fucking comes back.
Come right back.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It just never.
It's that nasty mole.
Exactly. It's like, as much as we posted in the commentary of those nonsensical posts of people who had double lung transplants and collapsed lungs and completely flooded lungs and blah 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 blah. We're like, no.
What I find funny is whether it's a pro vaping article or against vaping article, they always bring up Valley. It's just like let it go. Just let it go. It doesn't need to be addressed any longer. It's 2025.
I tried never to bring it up myself at all anymore. Right. Just outside out of mind.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you see the TikTok video that made the way on Twitter today or something? It was the ladies like my woman got popcorn lung and Bella, and I was like,
I couldn't watch it all.
Surprised you didn't bring out formaldehyde too. Okay. Why do I do it from all?
Did they touch on ED and hair loss too as well in that video?
Yeah, and seizures. What was that one? Like
we were lucky.
For Heartland one when the seizures thing came out, it was like popcorn lung, formaldehyde, now seizures. Oh my, was the title of the article. And that's what the thing was. Talking with Dr. Gardner about it the other week and stuff. This bastardization of science. Like no wonder we haven't colonized the moon yet.
Mars first, then the moon.
Mars. They did find water.
Yeah, and on that I saw one on TikTok last night where I forget the guy's name. I'm sure somebody who watches TikTok will know who I'm talking about. He's pretty recognizable on there. He's like a financial advisor, so he takes like all these Gen Z millennial couples who are like completely like drowning in debt, and then and on the show he rips them a new asshole basically and criticizes their horrible finance management and questions them on their poor life choices. And they had this one girl who started off by saying that she's currently doing OnlyFans, and he's like, well, how much money do you make doing OnlyFans? She's like, well, like $200. This last month I made $200. So he kind of chuckled at that. He's like, okay, so that doesn't bring in a lot of money. And then she said, well, I had to take a break from whatever was her primary source of income because she got sick and was put in the hospital with a lung injury or something like that. And I went, oh, here we freaking go. And he's like, well, really? Well, what happened? She's like, well, I was vaping. And he's like, oh my God. Can we please just stop this? And then she follows it up with, she's like, well, I smoke cigarettes now.
Yeah. That's better. That's better for you. It's better for you.
Exactly. I mean, I just look at these people and I get so furious on the inside. Like I just want to jump through the internet and be like, you idiot, tell the truth. But regardless of that, and no pun intended, Swift Action ensued. Researchers pointed fingers at vitamin E acetate, a skincare oil that was added to many illicit batches of vaping liquids as a thickening agent. When vitamin E acetate is vaporized by a vape's heating coil, highly toxic ketene.
You know, I'm going to interrupt because I'm still the way that they explain vitamin E acetate does not, as a thickening agent, makes no sense. It's actually a thinning agent. If you take cannabis, flower cannabis, and extract it, that stuff needs to be thinned out. It's too freaking it's wax at that point. You can't vape it.
Right.
So even when they're talking about it too, it just pisses me off because it's like I knew it was dank vapes. I was using them. Okay, man. So.
Yep. The information is always you. Okay, I know. I've never heard of ketene gas. I've never heard of that. Many jurisdictions outlawed any addition of vitamin E acetate to vape liquids, and crackdowns on black markets followed. Valley cases fell sharply, and the CDC has not detected a resurgence. Of course,
yet had to die. It was where the CDC said don't use dank vapes.
Right. So then, if we can eliminate that component of it, let's look at the last 5 years since then. Like I don't see vapors dropping like flies left and right and in hospitals on lung machines because they got a dispo down at the corner store. Yet health authorities believe EVALE might also be caused by other substances in vape aerosols. They don't even know.
This guy wrote this article.
Including those that are manufactured legally. In a landmark analysis of 4 popular vaping liquids published in Chemical Research and Toxicology in 2021, a team at Johns Hopkins University labeled 6 ingredients, including caffeine. Oh my God, here we go.
Go for it, Timmy. You got it.
Tributylphosphine.
You're ahead of my boy.
Do I get?
You got it.
Do I get to play that one in Scrabble? Tributylphosphine and whatever my dog just did must be the same horrible.
Hey, my dog was doing the same thing.
Holy Moses! I don't know. I might get a collapsed lung from this episode.
That dog just took 5 years out of your life.
Exactly. Somebody called the CDC right away.
You'll have to call 911 right now, Timmy.
Exactly.
Don't faint. We will. I will call them if you faint.
A pesticide precursor as potentially hazardous. Earlier studies had found page break vaping mixtures that use formaldehyde as well as heavy metals such as chromium and lead. It just it's the makings of a heavy metal album. I'm telling you right there. Vaping mixtures such as, that's a song title, formaldehyde, chromium, and lead. Yeah. That should be the name of the song, and Rob Halford should sing it. There are other reasons to be concerned. First, as vaping only surged in popularity in the past dozen or so years, cancer cases could they might, we don't know. We have no idea. But it would, just so you know, keep your eye open, keep your eye out for this.
Just in case.
Could still crop up. Lab mice, which can develop diseases quickly owing to their fast metabolisms, have developed cancers after being subjected to vape aerosols after their face has been shoved into a vape machine and had vapor pumped into it for 24 hours straight at volumes that most vapors would never use. I corrected that sentence for them right there.
Good job, Timmy.
You're welcome. The second is that vape aerosols have been found to damage human tissue, including DNA. Ooh. I'm not an animal. I'm a human being via a process called oxidative stress.
Not all my kids have arms and legs and toes, and they got two eyes.
I had to remove an elbow from my forehead just this morning.
It could be just the strong Sicilian genes that were in me that produce such beautiful children. Just saying.
Yeah, it could be, or they were a byproduct of the what was the movie with Bruce Willis in it where they had the mutants.
Oh God, what was that movie?
With the red-haired girl and the blue alien opera singer. Huh? What was that movie?
Wasn't it?
No.
Wow, damn.
And it had Chris Tucker in it with the
Chris
with
Tucker.
Fifth Element.
Fifth Element.
Yeah, the Fifth Element.
Yeah, said Bruce Willis said that, okay, and
I did. I said
Bruce.
I said
Bruce Willis, and Gary Oldman.
Yeah, Gary. Oh, that's right, Gary Oldman with the plastic thing on his head.
I thought for years when I was growing up that was John Travolta. Okay, that's how good of an actor Oldman is. Like especially the way his demeanor and the way he did his face. I was like, that's like a skinnier Johnny.
That's those same people that get Nicolas Cage and John Travolta mixed up on Face Off.
Oh God.
I actually looked that movie up the other night. I was going to see if it was on Netflix.
Okay, it's a great movie, man.
This sounds grim.
It's grim.
Yes, it's doom and gloom. Yet researchers mostly concur that vaping is less harmful than smoking. Of the more 7,000 substances generated by burning tobacco, over 70 have been linked to cancer, and a great number are toxic. Vape aerosols share some of those carcinogens and toxins, but generally at much lower levels. Crucially, vaping delivers no carbon monoxide or tar, two of the biggest nasties in cigarette smoke. A review of the 39 studies that was published in January in tobacco-induced diseases found no significant incident or prevalent risk of cancer in vapors who had never smoked. Well, I think
that's the very end of the article. He shares some good stuff. It's not at the beginning, not in the middle, but right at the end.
It never is. Never is.
Well, I mean, at least he didn't. I mean, it's kind of like, it's not necessarily a gotcha headline. I mean, you actually have to read a little bit. Did I get all that?
That's it, Timmy. That is it.
That's the end of it.
He ended on a high note.
Right.
Oh, man.
Yeah, but who reads these articles? Like Gen Q public is probably never going to catch wind of articles like this. It's only going to be people like us looking.
Unfortunately, it's the people that I think are reading these articles also are the individuals that go out and vote. That's the problem. So for us, it's not a benefit. If Gen Z and more millennials would read these articles and go out and vote in our favor, would be nice. But unfortunately, the people that are reading these articles are in their 50s and 60s. And, they go to the polls voting against us all the time. So that's the problem. I think it's one of the problems and one of the individuals that read these things. Because the Gen Zer is not going to pay $1.99 to read an article. And the millennial maybe, but the boomer and the Gen Xer too, because we're in our 50s, right, Timmy? And by the way, everybody, my birthday's June 3rd. Remember that day. Mark it down.
Yeah. January 3rd's mine. That should be easy to remember yours.
Right? Yeah. See, Michelle, you might as well share yours now.
I always share mine. Mine's January 25th.
All right, there we go. Yeah. 2 Junes and 2 Januaries.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yes.
A Gemini and what are you guys? Scorpios? Aquarius.
I'm a Capricorn.
Yeah, I'm an Aquarius.
Yeah, Capricorn. There's Aquarius is January, February. Capricorns are December, and January. Funny thing is, I was actually supposed to be born like on the 29th or like the 28th of December. And my parents were pissed because they couldn't claim me on taxes.
Yeah. All I know is I'm not supposed to marry an Aries, and I did, and it worked for 20 years.
I'm the Libras have never worked, and it makes sense. My mom's a Libra, of course, and they're not going to work with men.
Yeah, Libras. Yeah, my uncle is, and boy, he fits the description to the T of what a Libra.
Yeah. They're interesting. And somebody told me I'm not that big into the horoscopes or whatnot. And they're like, you got to quit dating these guys. He's like, obviously something's wrong. Like, even if you don't believe it clearly, what do they all have in common? They're all Libras.
I have a friend of mine that's deep into that stuff, and I mean, you just tell.
Should he knows cards.
No, but he knows all about the dates and when you were born and what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing, and what days you should not go outside, all that stuff. I mean, it's just mind-boggling.
Your Chinese one too?
Yeah, I couldn't live like that. I couldn't live like that.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, the
Yeah.
sun is out. It's it's 30 degrees this way. It's
I don't know. The day that my last day at TPA before all that went down, I tell you, there were vultures that were circling around my house, and I was just like, "Oh, ain't that a sign from anything?"
Vultures and a couple wolves running around and alligators.
Man, they were there for a while. It scared the crap out of me. One of them was went and swooped by me about 5 feet away from me, and I was just like, "Wow, that is a big bird."
Yeah.
Apparently, they are also associated with rebirth or something.
Yeah, rebirth. Lindsay, I know we talked about this before, but just the word vaping, it hurts us, right? I mean, we've tried to use another term to describe what we're doing and separate ourselves from cannabis and whatever other stuff that you can vape these days. I mean, is there still a push to try to get us to change our name or?
Not really. No, I mean.
Yeah. I remember there was one.
Like e-cigarettes, electronic cigarettes, vapes. I use them interchangeably. I mean, the big thing that I like now is that you're actually seeing, because I always remember Julie Wasner told me years ago to not use the medical, acronyms or whatnot. You're talking about e-cigarettes and everything. And so, yeah, when e-Valley did come out and stuff, I refused to call it that. I was calling it vaping lung injury. So, and stuff was like, you're not going to use an acronym on it. So the ENDS acronym, though, you're not seeing it that much anymore. So we're able to kind of kill that freaking acronym, especially when you're looking with stuff that comes out from FDA tobacco and all these publications or whatnot. Yeah, they're not even using that term anymore. They're calling them e-cigarettes or vapes now too, which is fine. I mean, and it gets too bogged down with the the THC vaping or whatnot and everything. Yeah. Again, and I try to just no, we're focus on the narrative. If we're going to bring up kids or whatnot, let's talk about kids and alcohol. Let's talk about kids. Let's talk about kids and their mental health issues, because we know that that's the number one reason why kids are vaping is because they're self-medicating, anxiety, depression, and stress or whatnot. And that's straight up from the CDC that's actually saying that. So these flavor bans and all these restrictions that you're doing again aren't even addressing why kids are vaping. So what the hell is this? It's just really stupid. So I think it's more, the Tennessee Smoke Free chat was, I guess they made a comment about it's about MSA money. I still think that the public health communities, I think when you're looking at tobacco control, you have big health and big tobacco, two sides of the same freaking coin.
Yeah.
There's a lot of money to be made in treating smoking related illnesses.
I mean, that's our battle. Yeah. That's the battle with all pharmaceutical drugs. It's just like, it's more money to be made if you can just not fix it, but just kind of suppress it somewhat.
Yeah.
It's sad. I mean, go ahead, Lindsay.
No, so that's life. I mean, I'm just thinking of the vaping, and the vaping industry is pretty much, at least for my career, this is how it felt like. It felt like that's Life song by Frank Sinatra. That's life. That's what all the people say. You're riding high in April. Shut down in May.
I hate bringing up the C word, cancer, but it's just like there's got to be a better way to treat cancer than having to go through chemotherapy and seeing someone that you love just get completely broken down. It's heartbreaking, But then there's those people that are out there. I like to call them, what are they called? The old guys that used to run around in their wagons and they would just show up in town and they had the miracle drug. What were those? Snake something. What were they called?
Salesmen.
Salesmen. You still have those guys out there that we invented this and this.
Well, that's the stuff with the vaping industry and hearing some of this crap that it's like, well, we don't have enough evidence that these help people quit. What do you mean you don't have that? Okay, we have the lowest rates of smoking ever. Okay, we have the highest rates of adults using these products. Something tells me those correlate right there. And then also, we don't know how harmful they are. No, it stands to reason. Because the minute you smoke a cigarette, your body has negative reactions immediately. Okay, so that's why 20 years of that, you're going to have so many problems. You're not having that same reaction when you're using a vape product or an oral nicotine product. Okay, so don't tell me, this is going to be, 10 years from now, we're going to find out that it's worse. We have almost 20 years of research people using this product. So,
Well,
And if anything, what you're seeing is people's lungs are looking a hell of a lot better than they ever did. I know Belosa did that long-term, study of people with COPD or whatnot, and like, that switched to e-cigarettes, and they didn't their symptoms didn't like increase or anything. So I mean, we have the data. Don't even tell me this.
Well, it's just, I always go back to that interview with Brian King and Allison, asking him what number is he happy with seeing that'll make him happy. And he said 0. And it's just like, that's never going to happen. It's never going to happen.
Yeah, we talked about the SonyATV amendment too. That was one of the things that I brought up when we went to the Reagan-Udall Foundation. So the SonyATV amendment, which allows retailers to sell, like, out of the compliance checks of, trying to get a minor to buy a product, they can have up to 20% of those can be failures. If that's acceptable, then I think 5.9% of kids vaping is a freaking acceptable number for, authorizing these products, saying that 20% of them can access them, and that's okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, you sons of bitches. No.
And they should be celebrating it. I mean,
yeah, we should. I mean,
celebrating that the vaping that went down, that 2019 was an anomaly, that they were able to actually address this, massive increase in a very quick way, because it went immediately down. I mean, and guess what? They're not smoking. There is no renormalization.
Yeah.
It's up. I mean, I got to get my 50 state analysis published for this year. I just got to do it on THR 101. I got to go change up all the graphics and everything on it and stuff. So that'll be out some the time. But you got some states that are considered, their young adult population is smoke free. It's less than 5% of them, and that's amazing that it was like a third of them that were smoking in the 90s.
Yeah. That's what I find funny, is that we those numbers aren't being addressed in any legacy media. That the numbers are down. No one's sharing that information but ourselves, and an occasional pro vaping article somewhere that's dug deep in a Google search. Where you have to go 6 pages deep to find it. But yeah, for me, it's just like, and that's why I found it funny that Fox went and did that article about smoking in the air, vaping in the, I'm sorry, not smoking, but vaping in the airplane. It just seems like now that our numbers are where they're at, and they're showing that adults are the ones that are using this product. And it just seems like it's like every other week, it's another, anti-vaping article that's out there, and never mentioning the fact that our numbers are what they are, and that youth vaping is dry. No one's mentioning that. They that could have been placed in that article about that person vaping on an airplane. Sure. Hey, look, this is the numbers. This is what's happening with youth vaping. No, they're not sharing that, but they talked all about, tobacco free kids and Bloomberg and $160 million, just showing them that, that it's such a burden on these kids that they're running around, I'm not going to say mangoes. Those kids are probably vaping some cheesy flavor. I don't know, something like some cherry or something, or slushy, blue slushy vapes, something like that.
I don't know when I see them, they always sort of have the same ones the adults have. So I mean,
not mango though.
Not mango. Disposables.
They don't touch.
I honestly don't see them here. Lindsay, do you ever see kids vaping?
I don't really hang out places where kids go, but I hang out at bars and stuff.
I mean, I see them.
That's the problem. Is places we hang out, we're not running. The only time I see any kids,
see younger people vaping, like 18 to 24-year-olds. I tend to see, but I don't see a lot of them vaping. It's still not when I was 18 to 24 and having the amount of people who were smoking at that time.
Yeah.
I think the adults kind of forget that that's what we did. We did the same thing. I mean, I didn't. I smoked,
and they did too.
I didn't walk around with a cigarette in my mouth. When I knew I wasn't supposed to have a cigarette. Other than school.
Oh man, I might have had fantasies about smoking on a plane. Okay, definitely. But did I ever do that? No.
Fuck no, my mom.
That's ballsy. I mean, you're smoking on a plane. That's friggin' ballsy. But
when I was 10 and I was on that flight to Italy, I might as well have smoked. I was like, I was ready to go. Just give me a damn cigarette, because every single person is smoking on this flight. I'm like, I'm going to.
Also, there's a thing with the friggin' parents. I mean, my parents, they would search my, my bag, coming and going. They'd smoke my cigarettes and everything. I said, they're smoking menthol, actually, so I could steal them back and whatnot. But And it's also, where you hear about these, you have states where you can go serve minors as long as you serve it to the adult, and the adult gives it to them. So it's like, the stuff over nicotine is just like, oh God. And I'm just so over it. Like, they've been doing really well. I mean, that's the opponent side. We have to just, our messaging needs to be better. We need to, be, consistent. We need to be talking about the same thing, just the way that they are. We got to get some of, vaping saved my life. I still think is, the thing for people to sit there and say that to, people. So
either one of my parents ever smoked, but we had ashtrays all over the house because that was okay for a guest to come in and smoke. But my parents never smoked, and they never told someone to go outside and smoke. They were allowed to.
It's really weird that you became a smoker with not having, because usually that's what's the mostly defined. That's going to define if you're going to smoke.
We were cruising. Well, I stole my first cigarette from a priest. Everybody knows that story. So, I smoked that first Pall Mall. I stole from, I don't want to name the priest's name, but that got me kind of started. Then I stopped for a while. And then my older brother and my cousin smoked, and we would cruise McHenry here on Friday night. And I'm the youngest, so I had to sit in the back seat. And I would always sit in the middle of the back seat, and those two were just smoking. And it was just, boom, hit me in the face. And I was like, you know what? I might as well have a cigarette. And my brother gave me a cigarette, and then he quits like 6 months later and then tells my parents that I'm smoking, and never said that he smoked. He walked in, we were eating dinner. He walks in, he takes my pack of Camel filters and he throws them on the table. And my dad just looks up and he's like, you're going to smoke? I'm not paying for your cigarettes. No more allowance. And I'm like, cause he knew that's where my money was going. But everybody has that, that great nonna that gives you money, your grandma. She's like, here's $2.
My parents used to.
$2. Jesus.
Well, hey, a pack of cigarettes, a Snickers bar, and a 32-ounce soda, $2. That's what I paid for. That's what I got for $2. Gotta have the Snickers bar.
A kid buying cigarettes. Yeah.
You gotta have the Snickers bar and the soda. So
that's your nutrition. All the nuts.
And the crazy part was the pack of cigarettes were 72 cents. So the rest of the money was the soda and the Snickers bar.
All that sugar.
And I turned out all right. I turned out all right. Oh, yeah, because I
didn't really start smoking like till I got a job like full time working at McDonald's and stuff, and then hanging out with like older people and everything. So
yeah.
And then I probably would have actually quit. I moved from Michigan to South Carolina when I was 18. And I probably would have quit, being a broke college kid, except cigarettes were like half the price in the Palmetto State compared to the Great Lakes State and stuff. It's like, oh crap, I'm getting like 2 packs of cigarettes for the price of one and everything. They talked in 2007, and so when you're starting to see the states do like the $2 increases, it was right before the federal government did the increase, and that's when you saw a lot of states increase their state excise tax on cigarettes, and and then God, I mean, but I was still, I didn't officially quit smoking until 2022.
Yeah,
that's a lot of money.
What was it when you first started? What was the price of a pack of cigarettes, Lindsay?
Like 5 something in Michigan.
And how about you, Michelle?
It was 75 cents.
Yeah,
but I never bought. Yeah, I always have to get
I
it
honestly
from
don't
machine.
remember. I really don't remember. I mean, yeah, I would say it was probably around the $2 and something change, fucking ballpark.
Damn.
Yeah, and there was like, I got to South Carolina and they were like $3 a pack or something. And so Missouri's the one that has the cheapest packs of cigarettes. I think their cigarette excise tax is like 5 cents or something. I
mean, you use this money where you can find it.
Well, if you're ever in a border store, in Missouri, they you can only buy so many cartons and everything because you're right next to Illinois. You go ship that up to Cook County, and that's got some of the highest taxes in the country, and
mine they let that was the funny thing, Microwave. I mean, they didn't want us smoking, but yet we're in the same house with people that were coming over and just puffing away in our house. We were just, in the living room. So it wasn't like, it wasn't so much concerned about us inhaling that secondhand smoke. But I mean, our house there was ashtrays in the bathroom There were ashtrays everywhere. And
Like in a house, yeah.
Yeah. And they were all these, and being they were Italian parents, they were these fancy Roman ashtrays, that were like you were afraid to put a cigarette butt in it.
Yeah.
We used to have to stand by the stove and turn on the fan and blow it in there because my mom hated smoke, but my dad and I both smoked, and they bought my cigarettes for many, many years, and they didn't care, but they didn't want me.
They didn't want you to smoke.
I had to be there. I had to be there or outside. So I usually just went out.
Well, they wouldn't let me because I was smoking. I probably started full-time smoking 16, 17 or whatnot. It was 18 at the time too, so my parents wouldn't let me smoke inside the house. If I could go outside and go smoke, they was doing so. The day of my 18th birthday, I walk out and have a cup of coffee and smoke a cigarette with them inside. It felt like a badass.
That was a weird experience. I remember the first time I smoked in front of my parents, and it was really strange for me. I just felt like the black sheep of the family. Even though I was doing it.
I always was the black sheep, so it didn't make any difference. I was playing sports, so. I remember trouble, and I was like, they weren't surprised when I was smoking. When I turned 18, I had to be legal to do, to drink liquor and to buy liquor. And it was the first time, it was like, cool, now I'm legal, So I showed up at my house after work with a big old bottle of wine. Ooh. And my mom and dad, I just stuck it in the fridge, like, okay, I'm just gonna wait and see what happens, And it took them about 3 days, and finally my mom said, "Is that your bottle of wine?" And I said, "Yep." And she said, I really don't want it in there. I said, "I'm 18. She said, "Well, you're right."
You're 18, but there's the door.
I'm legal.
I was 18, and I got it like a stupid tattoo because I just really wanted a real tattoo because I had a couple of my friends tattoo me when I was, early before that, but somebody narked on me, my mom and everything, because I had it hidden. There was no way in hell she was ever going to find it. And I was just like, well, I'm 18. I can do whatever I want. This is my body now.
I do whatever I want.
I got a little attitude.
I got my tongue pierced. And I had a boyfriend at the time. And like my mom had threatened me. And I'm 18. I got a few months left of high school or whatnot and stuff. And she threatened me that if I came back late or whatnot, that I was going to get kicked out of the house. I was just like, well, I came back the next day and I had my tongue pierced. And I'm trying not to talk to her because I'm trying to hide it from her and everything. And I was like, well, I guess I'm kicked out. So I went back over to the boyfriend's house or whatnot. And then we talked to each other on Monday. And then she's like, oh, so that's what you did? The first thing you did when you got kicked out was to go get your tongue pierced? I'm like, no. But I probably would have been kicked out after I did that.
Yeah, I can't even remember. I was even scared. I knew I could drink even when I turned 21 or even after. Well, I had kids. My first kid was at 21. So I was an adult. As far as I was thinking. And I still was afraid to actually drink alcohol in front of them. And it was just like, I would sit there and unless it's Sunday dinner, I knew I could have a glass of wine, Even when I was older, I was like, can I have a glass of wine? And like, my dad's like, yeah, go ahead. Who's stopping you? And I still felt guilty drinking in front of them, even though they gave us wine as children.
Yeah. They used to give us on vacation, they'd buy the little bitty bottles of mixed liquor. Yeah. And we got to pick as kids what we wanted. And we got 3 of them each for a week or, however long our vacation was. We chose when we wanted them, But.
Yeah. Here's your Truncali Mafia house photo.
That's great. I love it. That's great.
And they all
like, where are the ashtrays at?
It's a friggin' meeting.
I love it.
And my dad over here with his what do you call that hat? I forget the name of that. Fedora.
Yeah. That's your dad.
Yeah, cool. That was my dad. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And it was funny because my dad never smoked, but back in the 60s and 50s, anytime you took a picture, the photographer made you hold a cigarette. even though you didn't smoke. So there's pictures of my dad holding a cigarette. And I go, Dad, you didn't smoke. He goes, no, this stupid thing with the pictures. You had to have a cigarette, you know, made you look cool. I was like, what the hell? Even back then. Even back then.
Phillip Morris had some contract with the photographers at Sears. Okay.
You got to hold a cigarette. And my dad's like, I don't smoke. You got to hold the cigarette.
Yes.
Every picture of my dad, and then my dad never touched a cigarette in his life, but he had every picture of him as a young adult was with a cigarette in his hand. And I was like, Dad, why? He goes, that's what you had to do. And I was like, okay, that makes no sense, but.
Are you sure he wasn't lying to you, dude?
No, he never smoked a cigarette in his life.
Did.
He never smoked a cigarette, hated them, hated the smell of them.
Okay.
But his brother smoked. So, you know, Uncle Paul was allowed to smoke in the house and, you know, in the cars with us on road trips and all that stuff. So every time there, you know, my dad would always have him allowed to smoke. But boy, when he found out we were smoking, boy, that was not good. No. Oh, man.
Well, my parents weren't smokers at all. Apparently, from what I was told, that when my dad was younger, and I think in the Reserve Guard, I think he smoked for a little while at that time. So I never really ever saw him do it. He was always a pipe person. So that was common. But like I remember one time we were at the beach and we were setting off firecrackers or something, and he borrowed a cigarette from somebody to light the firecrackers. And I flipped out. Like I couldn't believe my eyes with my dad with a cigarette in his mouth. So I always was met with deterrence to smoking growing up. You know, I remember being determined as like a preteen and maybe my early teens being like, I'm never going to smoke.
Yeah.
And then all it took was that one moment of agnostic, you know, rebelliousness to my parents.
I blame the metal music.
Yeah, and I just decided I needed to get out of the house and took a walk around the block and ran into a friend of mine, a guy who was like a year younger than me, and he was smoking, and I'm like, let me try that. And that was kind of how it all got started. So.
I like that. It was a photographer, Phillip Morris. That's my dad. And there's a cigarette. He never smoked, and he holds it like the
good-looking guy.
He knew what he was doing.
Yeah, he had to have that cigarette in his hand, and he said the guy even showed him how to hold it. He goes, no, you got to hold it like this. And I was like, what? But I like microwaves. Yes, he probably did work for Phillip Morris.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, every picture of him as a young man, he has a cigarette in his hand. Even in Italy, and they made you hold a cigarette. And he went to work for Fiat in Germany when he was 19 or something, and he's standing in front of a Fiat tractor, and they all have cigarettes in their hand.
That's hilarious.
Oh my goodness.
We cool.
Yeah. It's funny though, isn't it? Just kind of how it's still, even in the 50s and 60s, it was still the same thing. If you smoked, you were cool, you know, and it just kept going.
Yeah, I think that's actually really changed. I mean, and then you know, I hung out with the smokers, and those are the people. We also did other things and everything. We were the dumb kids, you know. We got, as I said, like half of them are in jail right now on my graduating class. So, you know, I remember my mom did like the big thing for 18 was go to the casino, right? Because Michigan's got a lot of Native American tribes, and I was always amazed with how much, you know, that you could smoke in casinos. But my mom's like, well, yeah, they're gamblers. Okay. So of course they're gambling. They're gambling with their money. They're gambling with their health. So why are you banning? Like, we would go, because Chicago's got casinos, Illinois does, and so does Indiana. But Illinois has like the smoke-free casinos. And I'm just telling you, that's not a fun casino. Okay. Like, you know, off with, you know, cigarette smoke all over you and everything. I think I'd win a lot more. There's smokers in there, people who smoke in there, but yeah.
It's too, and you think about like in the 50s and 60s too. I mean, every movie they were smoking. Every bad boy. was
Yeah,
smoking.
everyone.
I like the
Right.
episode of Roseanne where she quit smoking or whatnot.
Yeah.
And she's like, TV is how I learned how to smoke. Lucy smoked on it. Was like, all the people of the 60s all smoked.
Yeah,
Right.
I started watching old films a couple months ago, and I'm like, Jesus Christ! And it wasn't like
Everybody.
one guy smoking; it was like the whole scene. Everybody was smoking, dude. Whether he was standing,
they want to re-digitize those to get rid of the cigarettes.
yeah. And it was funny too. Is that drew me into pulling old videos on YouTube of sporting events. And how prevalent smoking was in sporting events, and just seeing the Winston sign all over, NASCAR and Camels all over, the stock car racing and football games. And then the best one, and I think we had the coach, was it last year from Miami? They got busted for vaping on the sideline.
Yeah, the head coach.
So I went and looked up old videos, and you can see baseball managers sitting in the dugouts smoking cigarettes in the 80s, dude. I was like, oh my goodness.
Times certainly changed.
Times
Oh,
have
yes,
changed.
they have. Well, now you get now you get the like Netflix, the disclaimers made to pick nudity, sex, tobacco, and nicotine use. I mean, that's what they're now even putting that in there, and it's just like, okay, CTFK will go out and once a year or once every other year or something, go over all the TV shows that feature, smoking and vaping. And unfortunately, Hollywood hasn't really picked up vaping in the way that it should be using it as. Shameless did it with the one character that the alcoholic character. He's the one who plays in The Bear. He quit smoking and like using vaping, and he kind of just like, yeah, I think these. He's like, yeah, I think these are probably more addictive or something. And there's some like, oh, they should be in jail for marketing to minors or whatnot. These how that's how they use vaping. But Mock used one and used an e-cigarette, Nurse Jackie. So you're looking at like 2013. So, and Frank Gallagher used one too in House of Cards.
Yeah. And James R., you're right. I've seen plenty. They try to hide it on NBC, but every now and then you'll catch the golfer.
John Daly, yeah.
John. It's a lot of them.
We call it Arnold Palmer with vodka in it.
Yeah,
John Daly.
Yeah. It's a bunch of them, and it's funny because you every now and then you'll catch the caddy. Yeah, you'll catch the caddy slipping him a cigarette or the pack. He's handing the pack back to the caddy to put away, and you'll see him take a couple puffs before he goes and it's.
I golfed in high school. I smoked in high school, and me and my buddy, we'd be on the golf course, and so I would smoke like half a cigarette and then leave her one in the bathroom and stuff because you're hanging out with the golfing girls or whatnot. They're totally gonna go rat on you, do your golf. Yeah. They're smoking on the golf course. So yeah, I've been out here for 8 hours. I'm totally smoking cigarettes.
And don't forget, you got the alcohol card every third or fourth hole. So
not for all that girls. It's actually I want to go get a part-time job so I can get free golf and go be a cart girl again.
Cart girl, and those cart girls knew how to sell that alcohol.
Oh, if you have to know the course as well. I worked at this one country club that had this par 5 that was just a freaking nightmare. I mean, you do start, kind of high up, so when your tee shot goes off, it's going to go really far. But you're looking about from 100 yards to the green is a freaking you're just looking up a freaking hill or whatnot. And so we go, in reverse when we're going out on the beer cart or whatnot. And so every time at that hole, I was always able to sell shots to them and a bunch of beers and everything. And it's like, oh, how'd you do? How many strokes? This is a bench.
And you got your little tip jar. You got to have your tip jar.
Tip jars. I knew, I'm one of the few girls that knows golf. So I was giving them tips, keep your head down. Make sure your wrists are straight, make sure this arm goes. Golf is a fun sport. It's incredibly frustrating sport, though.
You got to drink. You got to drink. You got to smoke.
You have to smoke or vape or whatever.
What's funny here is what I noticed the last 5 or 6 years. It's Fireball has become the popular drink among golfers on the golf course. Dude, I'm just like, what do you got? Is we got any good bourbon or any good whiskey? You know, I got Fireball. It's like, why is Fireball become the drink of the weekend golfer?
It's easy to drink. It's really easy to drink, and it sneaks up on you when you're getting drunk off of it.
Yeah, but Lindsay, you know all about golf, right? You know all about golf. Do you want a guy in his 60s with 3-4 shots of Fireball teeing off with a driver? No.
John Daly can do it. Yeah, and actually, you'd be surprised. Most of those, I worked at a country club. Most of those guys are raging alcoholics. So
yeah, they are.
They had a golf tournament once, and they put up everybody's face, on this projection thing, and it's like, oh wow, look at that rosy face. Look at that rosy face.
Yeah,
wow. And then you realize, of course, they're alcoholics. You're the one who's been freaking serving them their drinks for the past 4 years.
Yeah.
You know how much they drink.
Yep. All right, guys, we are done. We'll see everybody next week. Thank you, everybody out in chat, for participating. We love seeing you guys every week. Thank you again, Lindsay, for joining us. If I get that guy, I found his page. So they haven't actually tweeted since 2020 on that page. So
and the Rocky Mountain Smoke Free. I'd probably go look that guy up on Facebook, actually.
Yeah, I found their website, and you can leave a message there. They don't even have message services available on their Twitter account. So, but I found their page, and you can ask a question there, and I will try to get him on the show, and I'll let you know, Lindsay, if he wants to come on. Everybody, Michelle, thank you as well. Timmy, thank you. And you guys look into the camera. Look in the camera and say goodbye. Bye, everybody.
Bye.